Hello, beautiful community. We're Feedback Loop Coaching. I'm Rachel,
I'm Chris.
and today we have a topic for you that we really enjoy. We love talking about level 5 energy. We love embodying level 5 energy, so we're going to talk about this frequency and how to expand your own auric field into that frequency. So we'll start by describing level 5 energy, what it is, and then maybe share some of our own personal stories with level 5 energy. And then we have some tools for you. So we've got 9 tools. We've kept it at 9 because we love the number 9. So stick around for the ride as we all join together on this mission to expand the vibrations of the collective and include, transcend, and include every level of energy through this process of expansion.
Well said. I love level 5 energy. It's probably where I resonate the most on a day to day basis. And at first, it was uncomfortable because, level 5 energy resonates with me as this peace and calm, very still water. And growing up, that wasn't the norm. So it took some time to realize like peace is an option and it's okay to dwell in this just like calm, stoic manner. Because that doesn't mean you don't experience things and like feel into the feels. It's just the way like I process them. It's just a little bit different. It's more refined and I'm very aware. And there's like a lot of what's one of the other characteristics? Reconciliation.
So, yeah, I'll share. There are, for every level of energy, there's a core thought, a core feeling, and then an action or result. So, the core thought at level 5 is reconciliation. So, when our thoughts are governed by reconciliation, there's no good or bad, right or wrong. We've reconciled those terms so that we're more able to see a nuanced, fuller picture of any situation, even any person.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're gonna get into one of our first tools around that language of good and bad, right and wrong. So yes, it's a reconciliation of that, and the core emotion, as Chris mentioned, is peace. So when we're experiencing a lot of level 5 energy, we have a sense of inner peace. And this is very different from the peace we strive for at level 3. So at level 3, we want to keep the peace. So we do that by maybe we walk on eggshells, we don't rock the boat. We say,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, it's fine," because we want to keep the peace. So maybe like even as I'm hearing you talk about growing up, maybe a lot of us were able to level 3 our way through certain
Mm.
chaos so that we could keep the peace when there was more, when catabolic patterns were more familiar. And we probably had access to level 4, level 6, though to keep the peace, we needed to be that bridge between catabolic and anabolic. And so level 3 is that bridge. Though, so the key difference here with level 5 is it's an inner peace. It's a true sense of inner peace. And then the result is acceptance.
Mm.
So again, that's reconciliation. So no judging anything as good, bad, right, or wrong. There's no judgment. There's discernment, but no judgment. And then peace is the feeling, and then acceptance is the result. So radical acceptance. If there's like a switch you could flip inside of yourself, like radical acceptance switch,
Mm.
you want to activate that to experience level 5. Just go ahead and switch it to radical acceptance. It's really, yeah, just acceptance of whatever arises.
And that's such a great framework to kind of lean into, just observing our thoughts, observing our feelings, noticing our emotions, noticing our behaviors, because we can objectively view ourselves that way and then plug into the feeling state that we
Hmm.
want to head into. So it's really nice that we're taking the time to dive into that level 5
Yeah.
energy.
Some other characteristics of level 5 is calm. Calm, like level 5 leaders are calm, cool, collected. They don't stress. Maybe I don't want to say they never stress, but if they do, they can quickly um, trans transmute that stress into a response. They're quick to respond. I would say it's a responsive level. Their level 5 leaders are entrepreneurial minded, really high levels of optimism. They see everything as an opportunity. And I think as we speak more about the tools, once we get into the tools of how to cultivate level 5 energy, you'll probably start feeling more and more what this level can
Yeah.
offer. So, yeah, I was wondering, Chris, if you could share just some of your own experiences of experiencing level 5, maybe alchemizing your own levels of energy to land in level 5 and what that's been like.
Yeah, let me. It's like a few different things can be coming to mind right now, and it's like I don't know what feels alive, like most alive right now for me. Um, a lot of it pertains to this idea that everybody wins
Mm.
within a level 5 approach, and um, hmm. Oh, I guess there was a big one when we were a part of a community association, and it was just like interesting to witness how the leader of the organization was running things, and also being put into a position where you're invited to unite a community, and then being in that position to unite a community while also pushing up against the person who is the leader who wants to divide the community, and like kind of being that gateway between both worlds.
May I share a little bit more?
Sure.
So this community, so we were assigned the task of uniting our part of the neighborhood, and we were like on foot walking around passing out flyers for community meetings and talking with everyone. And probably the biggest cause of level 2 energy, I'd say, is politicization.
Mm-hmm.
So what the designated leader of this organization, the president of the organization, he told us to unite the neighborhood, but then made it clear that he was this political party was the good guys and that
Yeah.
political party was the bad guys. So maybe drop the flyers off at the bad guy's house, but don't like them. Don't take them into our hearts. So that was kind of the gist that we were getting, and it was really confusing.
Well said. So there came this moment where we were at this crossroads for the organization, and we received an email about. I'm trying to be choosy with my words.
I get it.
I'm trying to choose my words for this. So we received an email, and everything in the email just like felt gross. And it felt like it wasn't representing the association, and it wasn't representing the vision and the goals that we were all working towards as a group and as a community, especially as like an executive board. Um, so I politely I responded asking for clarity. I wasn't at first like I had this like ugh, but I wasn't judging it. I wanted to find out more. So I responded to the email to the president asking for clarity around what he meant. And then he proceeded to say, let's meet in person to talk about this. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm just like, knowing what's going to happen and knowing I'm just going to arrive and like hold space for whatever's going to be happening and remain curious and ask questions and just kind of gain more feedback without making an absolute decision on what I'm going to do next, because it's important, I think, from this level 5 to be able to see every side, or at least entertain every side, and be curious and open to it while also remaining kind of true to values or something that I tether into that reminds me of who I am, archetypes, my being. So I like met with him and I was just like, whoa. I just like witnessed all these things just by asking questions and being curious and open. And a lot was revealed because I'm coming from like, as we go into some of the tools, like I wasn't diving into conflict energy. I wasn't entertaining um I wasn't entertaining like tolerating anything or rationalizing. I wasn't entertaining. I was like trying to come from this level 5.
You weren't taking the bait.
Yeah, be objective, be non-judgmental. And it revealed a lot and allowed me the opportunity to know how I wanted to move forward without having to feel bad about it.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that ultimately everybody was going to win because of what was revealed and how that conversation happened and like continued to unfold later, because there's like these conversations with other people and no one was like able to kind of see where we were coming from. But then months and months and months go down, years, and then we find out, oh, maybe they should have listened or like heard us a little bit more. So that level 5 allowed me to show up calm, curious, open, receptive, able to kind of see what's going on, and then also then relate it back to myself and what this inner calm and inner peace
Mm-hmm.
feel like
Mm-hmm.
feels like.
That's such a perfect example too, because this leader was just like classic catabolic leader. Like if you looked up catabolic leader in the like IPEC dictionary, it would he like this guy to a T is the catabolic leader. And a couple things that I heard. One is that when you did show up to meet in person, you remained curious from a place, like a genuine place of, I want to understand this guy. I want to understand where he's coming from. You care so much. Like, we lived in that community. You care so much about it. And this guy seems to have a lot of
Mm-hmm.
influence in the community. So let's see where he's coming from. So that's a level 5 characteristic of just desiring to understand. Like at level 5, we genuinely want to understand without attachment. We're curious from a place of, I want to understand you, not curious from a place of, how can I weave my agenda into this conversation
Mm-hmm.
and ultimately secure a win for myself. That's what level 3 is. So I like to discern between level 5 and level 3 because both are in the head. Though one level 5 is in the head from a place of having thoroughly met the heart. So it's like when I say we transcend and include, level 5 energy has transcended level 4 energy. And level 4 energy is where we really care about the people we're working with. We care about our neighbors. We care about our organizations. And then level 5, it includes that, but it's out of the heart and then into the discerning mind now, where it's like, heart, I hear you. And if anywhere you're bleeding, I'm going to swing my sword of discernment. Because if you're hurt, heart, then you're not winning. And
Mm.
at level 5, we all win or we don't play. So, yeah, I forget what else I wanted to say. I know I said a couple of things I heard there, but I think that probably wrapped it
Yeah.
all.
Now, what experiences do you have with level 5 energy?
So, level 5 energy, when I found myself like I landed there, it felt like a miracle because my initial settings, like my programming from the time I was 7 or 8 years old. So, typically by the time we're 7 or 8 years old, our programming, like our hard drive, is like 90% full. And our so that's like our subconscious is 90% full, and it's the subconscious running the program. And so my program was filled with patterns of level 4 energy, and then a level 1, because I'd be giving, caring, and then reach burnout and overwhelm and exhaustion. So like I began working with my coach in 2013, and that's when I first took the ELI assessment, the Energy Leadership Index assessment. And my results revealed this level 4, level 1 pattern. It showed that when I was not under stress, so on a typical day when things were going the way they typically go for me,
Mm-hmm.
I was operating with a lot of level 4. That was how I saw the world. I saw any opportunity for me to be helpful, for me to care about others. And a lot of it was expressed through my work, not necessarily the content of my work, but just how helpful I could be at work, how late I could work, how many assignments I could take on, how loyal I could be to my boss, how loyal I could be to my company. And so loyalty is a characteristic of level 4 energy. And the thoughts there are, you win, you win, you win. What can I do for you? Oh, don't worry about me. So a lot of martyrdom. It felt like I was just repeating these patterns of just being a martyr and sacrificing my own needs, not even realizing I had any needs because this was such a familiar pattern. So then after seeing my ELI results and seeing that I had that big percentage of level 4 energy, I made the conscious decision to work on that because I saw how it was resulting in level 1 when I was under stress.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw how it was resulting in my like needing to sleep and recover all weekend, and just really not living a life designed by my authentic spirit. So because I was living a life designed to serve others, which I still do today, though from a different place. It's from a place of creativity and purpose, not a place of fitting into
Mm.
someone else's design. So, not fitting into my old company's design, not fitting into my like boss's design, just a design that sprung forth from my authentic soul. And it just happens to be in alignment with service to humanity, service to Mother Earth, service to children, animals. So that feels a lot better than service to a Fortune 500 commercial real estate firm. So, yeah, that wasn't really fulfilling. So, and where I was seeking fulfillment, it was just creating a further and further void. that would never be filled, like seeking fulfillment in just like something so simple, like wanting to be told I was doing a good job, wanting to be told I was making an impact in the company. And yes, I was receiving promotions and bonuses based on how much work I could do. So then I was interpreting my own value and my own self-worth based on how much I could do for others.
Mm.
So that's where I was when I took this ELI assessment and I saw my results, and I was like, yes, this is how I've been showing up. It explains everything I'm experiencing and the results I'm witnessing in my life. And I'm not really enjoying these results anymore. I want something different. So I decided to reduce my level 4. And I did that through first, I began meditating and saying no to things and advocating for myself. But really, yeah, I began meditating. And the only place I could meditate at first was the steam room in the gym that I went to, because I couldn't see, it was so steamy. I had to leave my phone outside. So no distractions
Mm.
and total sensory deprivation other than the heat and the steam. And so I would meditate in there and then come out with total clarity. Like my mind would just be clear. And I thought, oh, this is amazing. So then I downloaded the app, the Headspace app, and began meditating every day. I would even close my office door, which before I would never do because I always wanted to be accessible.
Mm.
And so I'd close my office door and meditate with whatever the session on the Headspace app was. And then there was this, to me, it seemed like a clear moment when I landed in level 5. And it was the Headspace app sent me a notification and it said, is a problem still a problem if you don't think it's a problem?
Mm.
Yeah. And I sat with that, and it just popped me into level 5. Like I was just like boom, like pop
Yeah.
out of the membrane of level 4 and into level 5. And then I was like, this is great. I printed out that notification, put it on the door of my office. I'm like, people are not coming to me with problems anymore, because I'm going to point at that and they're going to see that they're capable of uncovering solutions. And it started changing my relationships, because once I was in level 5, I couldn't coddle people
Mm.
because I saw them as competent and capable. So that was an adjustment. And so that was probably around like 2015, and then 2016 I had a trip to Anguilla, the island of Anguilla, and that really just anchored me so deep in level 5. I was just like chilling and relaxed. And on that trip, I was like, I am bringing this relaxation back to Boston with me, and I'm going to smile. And so, yeah, everything really changed. It felt like I cracked open a code, and then I was so genuinely curious about people, and all of a sudden my time expanded. It was like I had all the time in the world to get to know people. So when people came into my office and sat down across from me, I stopped whatever I was doing and would look at them and genuinely listen, and I loved it. And for a while, I told myself, I used level 3 energy to convince myself that that's what I was really there for, to hold space for people.
Mm.
But I could only convince myself of that for so long, because the content of my job was, you know, analyzing market patterns in real estate. And that's not holding space. So eventually it led to my realizing that I'm just meant to be in this realm where I get to be curious as my job. I get to listen to people share with me their life experiences, and I get to listen to understand people as my job now, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, and also show them what this level 5 energy is all about.
This is pretty zen. I wore
Nice.
my zen shirt.
For this moment. It's pretty zen.
It's almost completely zen. Level 7 is zen, but
It's like incredible how your shift from level 4 to level 5 didn't result in caring about others any
no.
less. If anything, it expanded the container for which you could care for yourself while also caring for others and not getting into the weeds
Yeah.
with them.
Oh yeah, because something getting into the weeds is one of the disadvantages of level 4, because if someone came to me with their problems when I was still in level 4 and shared with me, my brain would go into problem solver mode. I'd want to fix it for them. And they'd even, leave. They'd be out of my presence, and my brain would still be running in circles. How can I fix this? How can I solve their problem? And at level 5, I realized, wow, that's just draining me.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't need me to fix them. They're not broken. They just needed to express, alleviate some of that density so that more light could get into their own feedback loops, so that they could excavate for their own solutions. And that's really, so level 5 created so much more space for me to be a mirror and someone who could really listen without judgment. Like, people don't, even when people would come to me thinking that they wanted me to commiserate or like gossip with them, and at level 5 I wouldn't. I would just remain steady, curious, see every side to the situation. They realized that they didn't need me to get in there with them and judge the person who they perceived as having wronged them, because there is, so yeah, it felt like such a miracle. And the stress that I experienced started decreasing so much.
That's life changing in itself, experiencing no stress. Just even like thinking about stress and how it can impact the heart. It's just like, ooh, like anxiety or like the rushing or how fast the heart is beating. Like, oh man, that can be challenging. And if you're living that naturally, if that's your way currently of existing, that can be really difficult.
Yeah, and just on a biological level and physiological level, it causes injury,
Yeah.
causes disease. So
That's why we're here to talk about how to cultivate level 5 energy so we can move towards the ease.
ease, flow, balance. So we have some tools. So the first tool that I want to offer you is just the tool of language awareness. So as we mentioned, we use words frequently like good, bad, right, wrong. He's a good guy, he's a bad guy, I'm right, you're wrong. Those are all level 2. Those all resonate with the frequency of level 2 energy, which is conflict. And it results in judgment. So a language swap, something that I introduced to Chris, was instead of good, bad, right, and wrong, we could say it's either aligned or I've deviated, or this is a deviation from alignment. And I love that language swap because it helps to sharpen our sword of discernment. When we're looking for alignment, then anything that's a deviation from alignment we can discern, and then just swing the sword of discernment and keep moving toward alignment. Though, and a lot of our wisdom comes from the course correction. From when we go off path, we might not be learning. Though when we course correct, we are learning so much to get back on the path of alignment. So much about ourselves. So yeah, just a simple language swap. See how often you're using good and bad, and see if you can come up with other adjectives, like instead of oh, that's good. Like what is it really? What's another adjective? Like, oh, it's supportive,
Mm.
or it's delicious,
Mm.
or it's nourishing or nurturing. Just other adjectives for good and bad, and right and wrong. And something that I like to remind myself, if I ever catch myself in a level 2 judgment trap, I ask myself, who am I to judge? Really. Like, we're not here to judge one another. That makes no sense. Like, I'm just another human, and someone else is just another human. What gives me the authority to judge someone else? That's ridiculous.
Mm.
So I'll ask myself that, and instead I'll practice discernment, because I'll ask myself, okay, if I'm judging, what am I getting out of this? Oh, I feel better about myself because I feel better than. That's also level 2, like better than, worse than. So instead of judgment, okay, what is this revealing to me? And usually it's something about me that I'm resisting. So allow, anytime judgment comes up, to hold up the mirror and say, what am I resisting within myself? And then ultimately that will expand into level 5, that curiosity. Yeah, we'll get to curiosity. Yeah, anything to add to that one?
No, you covered it. Yeah, so then the next tool we want to share is the use of mantras, and how kind of language or mantras or phrases that you use can help to tether your mind and tether yourself into this level 5 energy. Some of the ones that we use is like, what's the opportunity here? Like, what can I learn about this situation? I know I don't need a. That's why I love the sign that you put up at work, like about the problems, because problems are really opportunities to learn something new. So we can perceive anything we bump up against as as a moment to learn about ourselves and learn about what we are co-creating or connecting with. So we can really reframe unexpected challenges as opportunities, transforming that potential stress into innovation and creativity, seeing more available options and more available pathways to lean into.
Yeah. And if you want to make it fun, then when something unexpected happens, you can go plot twist.
Mm.
And then what's the opportunity here?
And then I know this next phrase is something you like to use a lot.
Yeah. Again, level 4 energy, we tend to, when we're in our level 4, we tend to attach to other people's journeys. So this one really helped me to detach from others' journeys. I could still hold space because that's so important to me. That's such a core value. So I could tell myself, look, girl, you're still going to hold space for this person. They're still going to know you care, but you're not going to try to do their journey for them. So it's, why would I deprive them of their journey? And this really became my mantra when I watched others embark on similar relational journeys as I did. And I felt like, oh, I want I want to help them to like not experience what I experienced. Like if I could help prevent them from experiencing that abuse, like what a miracle that would be. And so I would attach, and then I discovered my own, like as my expansion continued into level 6 energy wisdom. And I saw how much wisdom that painful journey created for me. I realized, oh, there's so much gold here. Like, I'll let them go on their journey with that person. They're going to discover so much. They're going to discover their capacity to love another, their capacity to forgive another and accept another, and their capacity to endure. And if it's a very similar journey, they're going to uncover the sets of patterns that one experiences in this dynamic, and they're never going to fall for those patterns again. They're going to have a heightened sensitivity to these patterns. So if anybody, they'll be able to sniff them out. And that's, to me, the greatest gift, because I think we're in this collective, like, relationship with the paradigm, where the paradigm itself is very abusive. And when we connect with our inner authority, our autonomy and sovereignty, we can sniff out the patterns within the paradigm and say, no, I did that in a romantic relationship. I don't need to do that with a relationship to the government or the boss or the company, whatever. So that became such a powerful mantra for me to, again, pop out the level 4 membrane if I was attaching. It was like, I'm going to save you from this. No, let them have their journey. Nobody needs a savior. Everybody's their own savior. And just level 5, I could still hold space. I could still be curious and be stoic. Oh my gosh. I have found when I use that, why deprive them of their journey? And instead of being sympathetic in situations, the compassion would be there. But compassion is different from sympathy. And the empathy would be there. But again, the empathy is different. I could just remain stoic and listen. Because also what happens is when your consciousness expands, you see everybody playing the role they came here to play. So the villain's playing that role, and then you can kind of see, man, they really got the short end of the stick when we all signed our soul contracts for coming to Earth. They got cast as this villain. And I know we all get cast as villains in one person's story or another. Though, like, some people come here and they're just like villain, villain, villain. But you can see that that's the value. Like, there's a yin and yang. Everybody's playing the role they're meant to play so that we can wake each other up and expand each other through this collective experiment that we're all a part of. So that, like, why would I deprive them of their journey? Expands me to a place where I get to see everybody's playing the role exactly how they're meant to play it, so that this person wakes up to these patterns and this person wakes up to these patterns. patterns. So that is that's a great way to alchemize level 4 concern into level 5 confidence in the other person, which is also, that feels so good. Level 4 has a little need to be needed. There's a little addiction in level 4 to being needed. That doesn't feel good. Good. I'm using good. That doesn't feel aligned.
Cut yourself.
Yeah, I do it all the time. It doesn't feel aligned, at least for me, being needed. That gives me the ick. And I like let people know, you don't need me. I'm more than happy to hold the space so you can hear yourself express. But you need you. Your higher coach is speaking, is a part of this conversation. So yeah, alchemizing the need to be needed with confidence in the other person's ability to navigate their journey feels so much more aligned and so much more spacious. So spacious. So just a quick recap of the mantras. This has come up before, but I don't think we said it in really in relation to the mantras. But what's the opportunity here? Oh yeah, we did. Okay. This one I don't think we said. We all win or we don't play. So yeah, so that might be. We'll include that as the first mantra. We all win or we don't play. And again, this one is medicine from that level 4 pattern of, oh, you win, because at level 4 we might judge the we don't play as bad. Like at level 4 we're still judging. We're judging journeys as good or bad. And if someone's journey is bad, we're like, oh, I'll help you. So level 4 is, if we say we don't play, we're like, oh, but they wanted to play, right? So we all win or we don't play. And then what's the opportunity here? And why would I deprive them of their own journey?
Nice.
Yeah.
Those are
Like,
great places to start.
yeah.
And just kind of lean into. And then you never know what might open up for you along the way once you begin to dive into curiosity. You might notice yourself asking other questions that light you up or help you kind of feel more open and expanded.
One more. Plot twist. Yeah. See if you could throw that one into there. If like let's say you're at work and there's, we would call them fire drills. I'm guessing they still call them fire drills at work. Or yeah, got to put out a fire. Like let's say like a big stressor comes up, everybody's stressing. Let's say you jump in the mix and you just go, plot twist.
Yes, yes.
Where do we want to go from here? That's another one. Where do we want to go from here?
Yeah.
So we all win or we don't play. Plot twist, what's the opportunity here? Or plot twist, where do we want to go from here? And then why would I deprive them of their journey? I think that's.
feel good.
I love level 5.
Yeah, so then the next tool, or really welcoming it as a practice, would be meditation for calm responsiveness. As Rachel shared her story with meditation and helping to uncover inner calm and inner peace, it's a great practice that we can lean into regularly just to check in, just to notice how we're feeling in each and every moment. Some of the practices I really like to lean into for like a beginner practice would be insight meditation, or just like using body scans, a breath scan, and cultivating your thought towards breath and body and kind of noticing what comes up. Because when we're able to sit with ourselves and objectively view ourselves and remain curious to what we're experiencing through meditation, it helps us to kind of expand into that compassion for self and others. So, like, for example, I experience a lot of sensation through my hips and my lower back. And when I will sit and practice, I'll just remain curious and open to them. I don't become fixed or attached. I'll just kind of continue scanning through different areas of my body. And I'll notice if I want to react, if the pain becomes too much or the sensation becomes too much, I want to react and shift how I'm seated or how my posture is. But then I kind of lean into it and I calm myself, and I'm more shifting towards responding to the sensation. And I notice it just kind of dissipate. So that can also show up if you're seated and you're practicing and you have this like itch on the nose. Like, can you be with the itch rather than just going to scratch it, which may be more of a reaction? Can you just be with the itch and respond to it with curiosity? It's like, this is just this is just where we're cultivating this fertile soil within ourselves to better understand how we can cultivate peace by navigating through the pathway of the mind into that expanded sense of awareness.
I feel like sitting with the itch is super advanced meditation. But if you can do that as a beginner, man, like I would make a trophy out of clay for you. Also, if you are a beginner, as I said, I downloaded the Headspace app, and that was like 10 years ago, so I don't remember exactly what program. There was a like sequential
Yeah.
program that, like, I did meditation one, and I remember one of the meditations had a cartoon of a blue sky with clouds passing, and they had really helpful cartoons that helped me to imagine what was going on in my own mind. Like maybe it was like choppy seas becoming still as glass. So that's really, we're calming, bringing calm, inner calm to, yeah, like you said, our fertile
Yeah.
soils.
Even finding like Dharma talks, because Dharma talks are very meditative, like listening, like.
Can you explain what Dharma
Oh,
talks
yeah.
are?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, of course. So you can look into people like Jack Kornfield, Ram Dass. They have these talks about the inner wisdom and about the wisdom of living and experiencing life. Because the Dharma is when we're responding to life's experiences and then can kind of share through this place of open curiosity. It's the teachings in practice. It's like the teachings in form of conversation. And normally what I found, like when I listen to some of these, like they're being taught in this meditative space. And like I listened to one today about this, about this reactive and responsive mind. And it was Ram Dass talking about this. I'm sitting there like, wow, I am like in this, feeling into his experience. So listening to Dharma talks, listening to just wisdom, people talking about life's wisdom. And that can be enough, something to tether your ears to. Listening to Headspace or using Insight Timer or these other different avenues, like uncovering a teacher, looking for a studio to go practice in. You have something to.
Well, I was listening into the Dharma topic you were listening to this morning, and I just kept thinking about your book from your MBA program, love it, Reframing Organizations. I've been very fortunate, as Chris is always in school, always doing something where I get to listen. And so, for those who don't know, Chris also studied with Jack Kornfield and Tara Brach for 2 years through the Sounds True Mindfulness Meditation Teacher Certification Program. So Chris is a certified meditation teacher through that program. So if you're curious about meditation, if you want to begin a meditation practice with someone, because it can be really challenging to get yourself there, to
Mm-hmm.
sit by yourself. There's like, whew, initially when you first sit, this is why I had to go to the steam room. When you first sit and you're going to meditate, the mind, it's like the mind gets louder than ever
Mm-hmm.
and goes into hyperdrive, and it's like, I remember some of the first thoughts was first thoughts would be like, how can you meditate at a time like this? Like, there's so much to do. You have so many emails to check on. And that's like my ego's resistance to meditation would be like that manic. And really, scared that all those things weren't going to be there when I was done with my meditation, or like that, like they would catch on fire without my attention. So the and it would just be 5 minutes, 10-minute meditations, and my mind would just go wild with worst case scenario from me taking that time to meditate. So when you first sit for meditation, the mind goes wild and will throw all sorts of distractions at you to pull you out of it and get you to give up on it and say like, why bother? And trick you into thinking you don't have time for a meditation practice. The mind's a trickster. And don't believe everything you think. That's also something meditation helps with. It helps you to just see the things you think and look at them with curiosity, which is level 5. You're curious about your own thoughts, like,
Mm-hmm.
that's funny. Like, I remember once in one of your meditation classes, I heard my mind, like, I noticed that I wasn't breathing, or I was breathing really quietly and really shallow. And I was like, why aren't you breathing? To myself. And then myself said, because if I breathe, I won't be able to hear my own thoughts. And I was like, okay. And I just sat with that. And then another time I heard myself, I witnessed myself having so many thoughts. And then I guess I'll call it my soul mind, my observer mind, said to my ego mind, it was like, you sure do think a lot, don't you? And then my ego mind like turned to my soul mind and was like, yes, I love my thoughts. My thoughts are so important. They're full of ideas. And so yeah, you just kind of get to notice and be curious about the thoughts you're having, just
Mm-hmm.
recognizing, the universe is mental, and it will go completely mental if we don't start bringing harmony to it in the way that it experiences intellect. um and of course there is no judgment on a thinking mind. It just gets so busy, and meditation can bring harmony to that chaos of the thinking mind. And so I brought out this book because when Chris was going through his MBA program and reading Reframing Organizations, and I heard this story about, um, basically, it was a lot like the story you listened to this morning. And um, should I just read it or tell about it?
I think it's short enough to read.
Okay, so basically, this is illustrating why taking that moment to respond from a calm nervous system has the power to reframe situations. So, um, imagine yourself among a group of friends enjoying dinner on the patio of a Washington, D.C. home. An armed, hooded intruder suddenly appears and points a gun at the head of a 14-year-old guest. Give me your money, he says, or I'll start shooting. If you're at the table, what do? You could faint or freeze. So, level 1. You could try a heroic frontal attack, level 2. You might try to run, level 1. Or you could try to break the frame and redefine the situation by asking an unexpected question. Level 5, plot twist. What's the opportunity here, right? So this is a true story. That's exactly what Christina Cha-Cha Rowan did. We were just finishing dinner, she told the man. Why don't you have a glass of wine with us? The intruder had a sip of their Chateau Meliscot Saint Exupere and said, damn, that's good wine. The girl's father told the intruder to take the whole glass, and Rowan offered him the bottle. The robber, with his hood down, took another sip and a bite of camembert cheese. He put the gun in his sweatpants. I think I may have come to the wrong house, the intruder said before apologizing. Can I get a hug? Rowan stood up and wrapped her arms around the would-be robber. The other guests followed. Can we have a group hug? The man asked. The 5 adults complied. The man walked away a few moments later with a filled crystal wine glass, but nothing was stolen and no one was hurt. Police were called to the scene and found the empty wine glass unbroken on the ground in an alley behind the house. So, in one stroke, Cha-Cha Rowan recast the situation from a robbery, we might all be killed, to a social occasion. Let's offer our guest some wine and include him in our party. So, what kind of alchemy do we witness there?
That's a
You know?
powerful alchemy.
Right? And it's very similar to what you were listening to
Yep.
this morning.
The Aikido master and being on the train.
And also, just to point out, this story was in a book that was assigned to Chris's MBA cohort at Roger Williams University. So this is something that is taught to leaders in business. So level 5 energy, your company will be transformed by it.
Let's go.
Yeah. Also, what I hear in there is, even though it might not seem like spaciousness in terms of chronological time, I feel the spaciousness between the moments. It's like hitting the sacred pause button. When we have access to level 5 energy, it's almost as though we can literally hit a pause button on life. And the spinnies around us are still going to happen, but instead of seeing them as chaotic, we see them as still, and give ourselves time to reframe, to soothe if we need to, so that we can respond instead of react. If any of those dinner guests reacted, it might be a very different story, but somehow, maybe through energy leadership, kind of sounds like it, but somehow they created enough spaciousness between the fear response, the fear reaction, and the calm response to respond in a way that reframed the entire situation. So level 5 creates and meditation. Meditation creates that spaciousness.
Yes, it creates the space between reacting and response.
Mm-hmm.
So reach out if you have any questions on starting a practice or just need some support in that. We can definitely connect and make it happen. And then our next tool that we'll be sharing with you is having a confident posture and body language. Is the use of your body language can signal calm and clarity to your mind. Like being hunched over, it just like looks closed off. It looks like you don't want to interact with the world. Sitting tall, kind of chest out, shoulders down. There's a little bit more confidence in that. And also, what I've learned, it's an active choice to like stand tall and have your heart, because it's almost as if our society is like encouraging us to round our shoulders, especially with cell phones and sitting at a computer, and that's just holding back from shining our heart open, which, as I mentioned earlier, like that heartbeat, the somatic, just thinking about the heart and how much energy it creates by pumping blood through the body. Why wouldn't we want to expand our heart out to the world and like give that energy? Though I can understand like the work it takes to get there and be like, you know what, I'm going to be confident, I'm going to expose myself. You have to like, there's this like, because I wasn't always like this. And I had to work through so much anxiety, social anxiety, nervousness, the feeling of like not being worthy of taking up space, like all these like inner things, like maybe it's imposter syndrome, to stand up tall walk into the room and be confident. And through that confidence, this like you become more calm and just like even just a quick way to practice this is just connect with the areas that touch the earth. Or if you're seated, connect with the area that connects to the seat. And that's enough to ground yourself into the body and just to know that you're taking up space on earth and that you're worthy of it. You don't have to do anything more. And that's also like a part of meditation because you're bringing awareness back to what's going on in the moment. It's like, oh, I'm experiencing something that's like difficult. I just experienced a tough conversation. I'm all up in my emotions. I'm all up in my mind. Did I say the right thing? Did
So
were
annoying.
they mean? Did I need to hear that? How could I have responded? Okay, I'm there. Can you wake yourself up in that moment and kind of remember your feet? Then maybe as you become familiar with it, you're like, okay, I'm gonna relax into this, open myself up, and be like, oh yeah, whatever, it happened. What's the opportunity here?
Mm-hmm.
Because then, like, once you're out of the programming of the body, which can inform the mind or your thoughts or your emotions, then you're creating that fertile ground to better excavate and understand what's going on. And then that'll help you return back to that calm center. You know, I remember when I broke my heel and I was experiencing like this crazy pain after just having a scooter crush my foot. I knew I was experiencing pain there. I brought awareness to it. And then I noticed how that pain wanted to inform my thoughts and inform how I was going to react. But I literally just began to sit and just like breathe into it and better understand. It's like, okay, of course this is here because this just happened. And then I was able to kind of confidently move and make the choices of what I was going to do next now that I was injured. It's just like bringing that calm presence. It just takes some practice, and practice can be a minute, it could be as long as you want it to be. We just kind of return back to that moment every day, and then that'll help to cultivate the confidence.
I can tell how passionate you are about meditation because it like you brought us back to meditation. But so another reason why I wanted to include posture and body language is because we can use the power of body language and posture to override
Mm.
our emotions. It's incredible. We so as you were talking about like hunching over, I I started thinking, okay, when I what thoughts make me hunch over and or like start picking, like unconsciously at like scabs and like all these little neurotic thing like behaviors that come out when I'm not aware of my posture. And so like, what thoughts make me do that? And it's thoughts, well, first of all, they're all out of my control, all things beyond my control. Thoughts of the past, thoughts of the future that I can't control, thoughts. My mind it's like addicted to replaying any scenario where I was the villain in someone's story. Because shame is a really addictive, shame and guilt are the two most addictive emotions. You would think joy, bliss, you think those would be the addictive ones. They're the ones we've got to cultivate and work toward and make space for because the addictive ones are shame and guilt. And they're probably addictive because they're the most familiar because we were born from density and now we're expanding. So, anyway, when I when I catch myself in those states of neuroses and I go like this, do 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 do, you know, they vanish. They don't have access to me when I strike a power pose. I remember once we were about to we were walking and we were getting ready to go see live music. after not having seen live music for so long because everything was shut down. We weren't allowed live music. It's so weird to think that we all went through that. Like, what is the impact of that? That's a whole other topic. Though I felt the impact as soon as I was like, oh, we're getting ready to go see live music. We're going to see people. We're going to interact. And I started feeling social anxiety. And then we talked about it, and I decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand like this. Just strike a power pose. My power pose was borrowed from, I think it was a Robin Hood cartoon. And I think Robin Hood was played by a fox. I don't know. Is this ringing any bells? I think it was
I
a,
don't know.
and Robin Hood, like, he like jumps into the scene and he's like, I am here, I've arrived, and he's so confident, and that, so from someone who had so many limiting beliefs about my ability to lead, or if I'm even worthy of confidence, and skewed perceptions of confidence, like, oh, that's arrogance, I can't put that on. And then trying on a power pose, and I was like, this actually feels good. And all of those thoughts that my body associates with inadequacy and unworthiness and shame and guilt, they vanish. So we can use the power pose to override the catabolic patterns. It anchors in the energy. When we teach energy leadership and we share the self-perception chart, the self-perception chart is structured in a way that you see how our core thoughts determine our core emotions. So if my core thought is, why did I do that? How could I have said that? I'm going to feel shame and embarrassment. When I feel shame and embarrassment, so core thought, core emotion, and then it shows the action or result. So we're in level 1 now. We're riding the wave of level 1. And the result of me being like, why did I do that? Why did I say that? I'm never going to show up anywhere again. I'm going to stay in bed and just stream things on Netflix because I'm not worthy of being out there in the world with the people who are way more worthy than I am. So I'm just going to stay at home, binge watch, snack. Yeah, that'll be me for the rest of my life. That's me at level 1. Why I'm sharing this is because though the self-perception chart is structured, so we see how our core thoughts determine our core emotions, and then our emotions dictate how we show up into the world, we can override that by going backwards, by showing up confident, telling our emotions, hey, we're good. I like using good there. I'm going to keep. We're good. We're aligned. We're chilling on location, right? I know that's Chris's favorite mantra. Chilling on location. We're confident. We're strong. Nobody, nobody hates us. In fact, people are happy to see us. Put that heart out there, right? So, if you're watching this at home and you want to give it a try, strike a power pose. Some of my favorites.
Greatest hits.
I like this one, my Robin Hood one, I call it. And then I like this one. This is like, I have a couple versions of that one, but it's kind of like rock on, or like I got your back, or I am victorious. Or if you're really into this, swing your sword of discernment or sharpen your sword of discernment for level 5. You could like sharpen that sword. You could hold it high. You could swing it. Whatever you need to do to let your body tell your mind where we're at. Yeah, try your power pose. Let us know how it goes.
Lovely. Just rocking these. And then the next one, the next tool is staying in your lane. Noticing, beginning to notice when you may be overextending yourself to help someone else achieve their goals, achieve their vision, while jeopardizing kind of your own path and forgetting to or not really bringing awareness to like what you're actually doing, like over contributing. Because in that action, there's almost this lack of trust in them to be able to do and achieve or figure out how to get something done that you're there to help them with.
Yeah. There's also one of the pitfalls of over contributing is sometimes when we're over contributing, we're creating chaos.
Mm.
I know times when I've wanted to be helpful and wanted to be relevant, I would just like throw things into someone else's pot, and they'd be like, "Ah, you just messed up my recipe." You know, like let's say they know exactly what their recipe is and what they're cooking, and we want to go throw in a bunch of our stuff.
You
Like,
talking
get it?
about that soup we just made?
No.
We did make a soup.
We, but yeah, I mean, it is a soup. We're all making soups. That's what
The
our
cosmic soup.
we're all making stirring up in our own cauldrons these cosmic soups, and if someone can't see someone else's vision or doesn't know their design that they're aligning with and just try to get in there just to be relevant or like let's say I'm painting and I know what I want my painting to look like and someone else thinks that they're going to be helpful and they come and start painting and I'm like, "Oh, you messed it up." So it could come from a really well-meaning place, but sometimes when we try to involve ourselves in and like kind of force ourselves into lanes that really are fine without us, we create chaos. So yeah, really stay in your own lane, focus on your own lane, trust they're in their own lane. I think a lot. I remember this was huge in like 2016 or 2017. This meme of Michael Phelps swimming, and he had his chin to his chest and swimming. The posture when we're super focused on swimming, and then the person in the lane next to him, his head was looking at
Mm.
Michael Phelps, and it said, "Winners stay in their lane." Lo- no, winners focus on their lane. Losers focus on winners. And that became my mantra at the time. Now I'm like, oh, winners and losers, that's level 2. But at the time, depending on what the situation is, it was really helpful. And then I think yeah, okay. So there's one more thing with staying in your lane. It can be immediate medicine for the feeling of competition.
Mm.
Competition says someone else is a threat. And then we get competitive in the level 2. So instead of getting competitive, and not that there's anything wrong with competition, I actually really enjoy competition. Though I've also had outlets throughout my whole life, like sports.
Yeah.
And now with yoga, I get to be competitive with myself and be like, come on, Goldberg, you held this way longer yesterday, whatever. Like, it's just like, oh, like, I need that. I have a competitive spirit. I have a bunch of Aries placements. So there's nothing wrong with competition, though when it gets to be a distraction from your own lane and your own focus, like the Michael Phelps meme, that's where it can cause injury, not just to your project or your community, but also back to what we experience in our body when we're experiencing catabolic energy. Level 1 and level 2 are both catabolic energy levels. And when we're experiencing catabolic energy, our brain believes completely believes that we're under threat. So the brain releases adrenaline and cortisol so that we can combat what we perceive to be a threat. And when our brains are releasing those hormones, our bodies, our cells are telling themselves we need that energy. So our cells and tissues break down, contract like a cat, like a scared cat, when it kind of like gets hunched like it's ready to spring. Our bodies do that. So we don't want to long term experience of our cells and tissues breaking down to provide an energetic boost. That turns into inflammation, and that will become chronic inflammation. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with level 2 energy. I love it. And everyone who knows me knows I love a good round in level 2. A good spin around there, get fired up, feel the passion in my heart, the fire in my heart, reconnect with my dragon. And then I remember, okay, we don't want to stay here too long because it'll cause injury. I don't want inflammation to continue. So then I ask myself, well, what do I want to do with all this energy? And then I go create. And then when I'm creating, then I feel nothing but love for whatever caused the anger because I'm creating from it. So yeah, staying focused on your own lane is immediate medicine for that like competition. Like, oh, someone's a threat. And then, instead of, don't focus on them. They're not a threat. Nobody can be you. You're the best. You are an expert at being you. There is no competition. Nobody can be you. So focus on you. They're focusing on them. So, yeah, stay in your lane in level 5.
Level 5. Stay in your lane.
5 alive.
5 alive. And the next tool and continues with another sort of mantra. What's my intention here? Turning that curiosity on yourself when thinking about getting involved with something or someone. Be like, okay, what's my intention behind this? Is it to show my worth and that I can do it? Or is it just to like genuinely be there because I see how I'm one part of the whole without kind of overextending oneself into someone else's lane? All these kind of tools are really malleable and agile and kind of work with one another. So that could help you with staying in your lane. Like, what's my intention here? And it helps to just bring clarity. And these questions open up that curiosity. And that's coming from the space of non judgment and just being open to kind of each and every person's experience or your experience or whatever you're going on, whatever that you have going on. And it will also shift you to be more responsive because instead of reacting, you're taking that breath to ask a question, which is that you can contemplate on, like dive into and search with.
I feel like I'm at an advantage with this one because I began working with my coach and she began asking me, what's your intention, before I joined social media. As I started working with her in 2013, this would be something she asked me all the time. Like pretty much every time I told her, oh, I wanna write this email to this person. So really my communication was limited to emails and texting and phone conversations. I wasn't, and I didn't have WhatsApp, I didn't have Signal, I didn't have Instagram, Snapchat, any of that. Just like texting, calling, email, and in-person conversations. And I, with all the level 4 energy, I would tell my coach, I want to reach out to this person about this. and she would ask, "What's your intention?" And then I would have to be honest with myself because the intention is the energy behind what we say we're going to do. It's the energy. That's what's real, and that's what the universe responds to. So I'd have to get real with myself, and then I got to discern, is this based in love or fear? If it's based in love, I move forward. Based in fear, maybe don't take that action. So yeah, I do. I feel like I'm at an advantage because with so many ways to communicate now, there's an additional challenge of pausing and asking, what's my intention here
Interesting.
before reacting. Like social media has made us more reactive and impulsive, I think. And I think, I'm not sure, but there's no measurement of it, though, to my knowledge. Though I've witnessed from my own set of experiential data, social media has increased my levels of reactivity and impulsiveness. So, and communicating, like on social media, we're always communicating, whether we're scrolling,
Mm-hmm.
hitting the like button, leaving comments, we're always communicating. And sometimes we're completely unconscious. We're scrolling, hitting a like button. That's a form of communication. Sometimes we don't even know if we even looked at the post, you know? So that's kind of wild to think about. We're just unconsciously communicating with the world. So our subconscious is out there without hitting the sacred pause button, checking in, making sure it's genuine
Mm-hmm.
and we're being our authentic selves in this communication. So, yeah, asking what's my intention here. Because, like, how many intentions can we think of for scrolling, hitting a like button? Like, are we hitting it because we want the other person to think that we read it and liked it? Are we hitting it to support someone? Like, what's even happening here on social media? It's so new and unfolding, and really changed the way that we interact. So yeah, that can bring a lot of clarity and mitigate reactive behavior and cultivate responsible behavior.
Nice. Never thought of it like that, and how many channels of communication, like, in how many ways we're connected to like one single person. Like the way everything's set up right now, without going, I'm not going to go too far on a tangent, but just to really like highlight this, you could get in touch with one person through a phone call, a text message, an email. Then there's WhatsApp, there's Signal, there's maybe Telegram, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn.
Oh my god, I forgot about that one. So many. Ah.
That's double digit. That's over 10 different avenues. And each avenue has a different kind of perspective infused in it because of what the messaging portal is. So I could see how you are at an advantage.
Yeah, I feel so grateful because I can hit that pause button, you
Yeah.
know. So all right, the next tool number 7, check in with your core values. We do have a tool for your core values if you want to take a core values assessment. That sounds weird. Take an assessment. If you want to assess your core values, we have a little PDF file we can send you. Just reach out, totally free. So you don't need that though. You know what your core values are. Though it is helpful to, why we have the assessment is because sometimes our core values are decided before we're even born. because we are born into a family that already has its own dynamic and its own programming. And then in order to survive, we absorb that programming like a sponge. So then those values become our values until maybe we Thor's hammer them with feedback loop coaching's three core concepts: awareness, evaluation, and choice. So bring awareness to those core values. How have they steered you? How aligned are they with how you want to feel and live and navigate your life? And then choice. If in the evaluatory process you discerned that your core values aren't serving you, they're not based on your authentic soul's wisdom, we can choose more aligned core values. And then how that cultivates level 5 energy. When you know your core values, well, first of all, no one can tell you they're not. So when you're so clear on your core values, it's you have fewer buttons that people can push. You know who you are. Your core values are are the essence of who you are. They are the constellations that decided to incarnate as a human. Your core values are that connected to your unique cosmic blueprint. So know your core values. And then when you do, it's so much easier to set healthy boundaries because you could just speak about your values. You could say something as simple as, this bumps up against my core values. It's not aligned for me. And oh yeah, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say that's essentially how I handled the story I shared at the beginning of this with the president. I was, before meeting with him, I became very clear on like what my core values are and knowing how he pushed up against certain ones. So when I said I was stepping away, I was able to identify the core values that he of mine that weren't respected, and that was enough for me to be like, okay, I'm out because I'm not wavering on this, and that gives me something to tether myself back into.
I love that, not wavering. Like you have permission to remain firm in your core values. You don't have to waver. You know why they're your core values. No one else can tell you they're not. It makes me think of I don't want to give away the ending of Avatar The Last Airbender, but you know the ending, those of you who've seen Avatar The Last Airbender, the fight between Aang and who's the like boss man of Fire Nation, Ozai?
Sounds familiar.
So that battle, Aang, he did not waver on his core values. He bent the will. Oh, I won't say any more.
He bent the will of Will and Grace.
Um,
Smoke bomb.
for real, that was a real smoke bomb. Yeah. So setting
Core values.
core values can
Let us know if you want that assessment.
yeah,
I'll send
and
it over.
and also what you were saying of just in conversation when we're setting healthy boundaries, we can just say, we can be really polite about it too. We can be like, I wish nothing but the best for you, nothing but success for you. The way that it's unfolding is in violation of my core values. And then be prepared. Like you're prepared because you're anchored into level 5. Sometimes when we advocate for our core values, it takes a while for the world around us to acclimate to our certainty. Certainty is a powerful technology, as we've seen in Rick and Morty. So when you're anchored in your certainty, it you are like, it is like a Thor's hammer, or like a magnet that just landed on Earth, and maybe it disrupts everything at first, but then life reorganizes itself in alignment with your certainty. So core values really help to anchor in that certainty, and then setting healthy boundaries, the pathways for seeing that and seeing the communication to set those healthy boundaries becomes apparent. It's like, oh, there's my pathway for that conversation unfolding right before me, because I'm so anchored in that level 5 portal.
Let's see. Tool number 8 now.
Yeah.
Active heart to mind communication. It's like, was that once you hit level 5, you're filtering everything through the lens of the heart?
Well, level 5, you're filtering through the mind.
From the heart. Isn't
Level 5
Yeah.
is the mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's the discerning mind. Everything is being filtered through the mind still, but it's the mind that has thoroughly established the communication with the heart. A mind that has visited, like had tea, had cacao circle with the heart. A mind who has showed up knocked on the heart's door, said, "Hey heart, I have so many tools. I have so much intellect and knowledge, and I want to offer it all to you. What do you want me to do with this knowledge and intellect? Knowledge is power. I have all this intellectual power. What would you like? How would you like me to move forward with this sharpened sword of discernment?" And then my sister, the heart, says, "I have these strong core values. I want peace. I deserve peace. I am an advocate for truth. I want truth. I I am a sovereign being, and I want to create whatever it is that your heart desires." Your heart has told the mind. And the heart also has told the mind. The heart is an infinite library of experiential data. Level 5, the heart has shown all of those emotional experiences to the mind. The mind essentially says, "Got it. Those violations, they will not happen again. And those dreams, we're heading straight for them. I got you." So it's transcended, so it's beyond emotion. Because there's really no emotion at level 5 other than peace and calm, the heart gets to just kind of rest and trust and surrender, and then experience joy. It's the journey from level 1 to level 6. It's level 1's in the head. The head's like, "Oh, you suck." Level 2's in the heart. The heart's like, "I don't think so. Like, you're going to mess with me. You're going to mess with my family. You're going to mess with the people I care about. You're going to mess with my planet. I don't think so. Put them up." That's level 2, the heart. Level 3 is back of the mind. Like, okay, I guess this is okay. I guess I can work with them. I mean, they did have a really hard day. I understand why they're shouting at everybody, but I don't like it, but whatever. Level 3 is like, oh, it can really rationalize, justify. That's in the head. So we went head, heart, head, and then level 4 is back in the heart. Oh, I feel for you. I feel this concern for you, and I need to like ameliorate my own concern by fixing your problems for you, and then level 5, as we discussed, it's okay, heart, what's going on? What do you desire in life? And the heart's like, man, all this stuff. And then again, the experiential data catalog, looking through all the pain and enjoy the joy and sorrows I've experienced up until now. And and then the mind's like, I got it. Got you. Let's go. Head, heart, head. And then level 6 is heart again. Joyful heart.
And then level 7 is non-being.
Level 7 is the yin yang.
Yeah.
Yep. It's the Tao.
Oh.
So yeah, so that basically at in that active heart mind communication, you are allowing, the heart is allowing the mind to be a stoic guardian. So sometimes the mind, the level 5 discerning mind, is swinging the sword of discernment to protect the heart, and the heart's like, oh, I'm scared, like how are people going to react, like I'm afraid they're going to take offense. That's like the heart can immediately, because the heart can feel so much. When we set a boundary, the heart might be so afraid that we've hurt someone's feelings, and we don't want to hurt their feelings. So level 5 might swing that sort of discernment, and level 4 concern goes, oh, did we hurt their feelings? Oh. And then then we just gotta remember, why did we swing that sort of discernment? Let's go back to the core values. Heart, you told me these core values. You wanted me to do this, okay? And the heart's like, okay, you're right. Stoic guardian.
Well said. Like the mind is actively protecting the heart.
And the heart wants to protect everybody else's hearts, but the mind's like, no, we all win or we don't play. Are you winning, heart? And then the heart can be like, well, I guess I wasn't because they were violating my core values. And then the mind's like, exactly. Let's move forward. Okay, this is one of your favorites.
I think it's the one that we've touched on throughout this whole
Yeah.
this whole talk, and that's just remaining curious. Just being open to what's going on, not being rigid, and just asking questions, remaining interested in it. I love using the word "this is interesting" if something occurs, because interesting creates intrigue and curiosity for me, and kind of breaks down any connection that I may have had towards any expectation or whatever I created around something. So just like remaining curious to why someone said something or did something, or why this I chose this and then this happened this way, and it just like opens up the doorway for to perceive opportunities and to create another form of connection with someone or something.
Yeah. And then that would inevitably lead to level 6, the connection. And if you are ever unsure of what question to ask, you can always say, tell me more. And I love that question because it gives the other person the choice to tell as much or as little as they want. Like I know with my human design type, I don't like being asked more than one question. When I share, I share what I mean to share. If I don't want to share anymore, I won't. So I love when someone's just like, tell me more. And I'll either be like, or I'll get really passionate and spill out my entire third eye. But that's completely up to me. And also, you get to know people when you say, tell me more. You get to see their eyes sparkle, and that's such a like joy inducing moment. Seeing the, it's like seeing, the universe, seeing the cosmic stars in someone else's eyes, and you're like, you're passionate about that. Like, that's cool. Um, yeah, yeah. Tell me more. Or if someone is experiencing a hard time and you say, tell me more, maybe they haven't heard that yet. Maybe you're the first
Mm.
one who is available. Like level 5 is really spacious and it is so rare. We've we've both administered a number of ELI assessments. Level 5 is so rare. It's so unfamiliar. We're just getting to know this because the people who have been catapulted to designated leadership positions, leaders on the world stage, use a lot of level 2 and a lot of level 3. And that's why the collective is on a journey from the head to the heart to explore that level 4 and then reemerge as calm, cool, collected. Level 5, spacious, almost spacious to the point of empty. Um, I wouldn't say level 5 is completely empty. I think level 7 is pretty like completely empty. There's just wow, I exist, which is also wonderful. And that's spacious. As I look at the clouds and this, world is so miraculous. Hey, Daisy. So level 7's a vibe. But yeah, we're talking about level 5. And level 5 is so spacious. So when you say, tell me more, you might be the first person in someone's day, in their week, in their life to show curiosity. And then you might get a lot of data, a lot of experiential data flowing like a river, and you experience the gift of having been a container for someone to pour their experience. There's there's just nothing like it. I I get to do this for work. Like my job is to be a container and help people organize. Once it's all come out, then we get to organize and direct and consciously choose energy flow. Such a gift. As a coach, I can just say like asking someone, tell me more, what's going on. I guess that's not a question, but it's just such an available go-to if you can't think of which questions to ask. I know sometimes I get really self-conscious as a coach because I don't remember all the questions. Like we're really trained in asking specific questions depending on the experience someone is working through. Every inner block has its own set of questions that are like, what and yeah, mostly what or how.
Mm.
What or how. Like what what did you do in the past that helped you through it? Or, there's specific questions and I don't remember them all. And sometimes I get nervous and then I'm like, oh, I can always say, tell me more about that. What about that inspires you? Ooh, and whether you're coaching someone or not, asking someone what about that inspires you, you might learn so much if you're genuinely curious. If you are asking questions because and your intention behind them is I want to prove them wrong. I'm going to ask them this question, they're going to say something stupid and I'm going to prove them wrong. That's not level 5. So, genuinely showing curiosity, saying, you know, what else is possible here? What's important about what what about that is important to you? You can get to know someone. And that is such a gift. And this is how we love our neighbors, people. We find out what about their path, their direction, their belief system is important to them. So you can always ask that too. So those are all 9,
Yeah,
right?
that's all 9. That was number 9.
So something about every level of energy, and if you have had your debrief with us, you know this. For every level of energy, there are advantages and disadvantages. I know you've heard us talk about level 5, and you may be thinking, Psh, what could possibly be disadvantages of level 5? Well, let us
The
tell you.
the big one is paralysis by analysis. Being able to see every option, it might feel like a blessing. It's like, oh, I can choose all the pathway. I can see what pathways I want to go down. But now, how do you choose when there's seemingly endless opportunities? How do you choose which one to go down? And then oftentimes that just like creates a stuck feeling and then leads to no choice. And then that leads to kind of stagnancy.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you always say, you'll be like, you're anabolic until you're not, or you're catabolic until you're not. So that one, I'm thinking of you're level 5 until you're not,
Yeah.
and then you're level 1. And then another disadvantage is because you see so many options and you're so optimistic and you believe in yourself and you believe in the people around you, you may be a high risk taker because you're entrepreneurial minded. And because you're entrepreneurial minded, you might quit your job and start a business, and that's risky, but so fulfilling. Do it. And another disadvantage is when we talked about level 5 is from the head, it's pretty stoic. There really aren't emotions. You're not making decisions based in emotions, and you're not reacting based in emotions, which can come across as disconnected or detached, or even harsh if some people are just not used to that stoicism. And stoicism can be an art in itself. Maybe that's a whole other topic. The art of stoicism, because it is an art. That's why we study the Stoics.
Beautiful. This has been a great talk.
Yeah.
I hope everyone who's viewing this is able to have some takeaways from this because clearly there's like a lot of passion in uplifting our collective into this kind of energy.
Yeah. I love how talking about level 5 energy makes me feel level 6 joy. I am full of joy because the potential I see in humanity is so expansive. So we'll leave you with first a recap. So let's see. We talked about language awareness. So swapping good, bad, right, and wrong for discerning but not judgmental words. We talked about mantras. So what's the opportunity here was one of them. We talked about meditation to transmute reaction into response. We talked about our power poses, confident posture, chilling on location in your body, overriding your emotions with your body. We talked about staying in your lane, asking. We talked about, so tool number 6 was ask what's the intention here. Tool number 7, check in with your core values. We went hard on that one. Tool number 8, active heart-mind connection. Your mind is your heart's stoic guardian. It's like your mind is bowing in service to your heart. And then that was 8, right? And then number 9, remain curious. Ask questions. Genuinely remain curious. And so those are the tools. And we want to invite any comments, questions, and then maybe we'll leave you with this last question. Where in my life can I cultivate more level 5 energy? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for listening. We at Feedback Loop Coaching, it's one of our core values that your feedback loop is precious. Your psyche is sacred. And If you are listening to this, it means you've allowed us, you've invited us into your feedback loop. That means so much to us. It's actually connected with my star pearl in the gene keys. So it is. Wasn't that wild? It said, so anyways, yeah. So your feedback loop is so precious to us. We thank you for your attention. Your attention is sacred. Yeah. Any final thoughts?
No, that's covered it all. We'll see you all on the other side.